Shalom all, and we are back again with our daily Genesis to Revelations study. Today we are on Leviticus chapters 20 to 22, very short one, almost just one page, dealing with holiness and some penalties for sin. So you are meant to read all of these chapters, so I don't have to be just reading out laws to you. By reading them in their entirety, you should see the character of God, particularly how you see He's particular, specific, holy. He detests unholiness and instructs it and the person to be killed, so as not to have sin in the land that He's going to give them. Now, this does not equate to going to other lands and taking them over as some denominations do. However, the saying of some Christians that God hates the sin but not the sinner, you should see that is false. He does not separate the person from the sin. The sin is put away by putting the person away.
When I say denominations, I'm talking about, I should say, religions, such as some Muslim or so Islam that thinks they should kill other religions.
Okay, chapter 20 is really dealing with the penalty for sin, such as child sacrifice and sexual immorality. Reading from verse 1. And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Again thou shalt say to the children of Israel, Whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the stranger that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. Now Molech is a false god, and there was a practice of sacrificing people or children to him. Verse 7, or to it, I'm not sure if it's him or her. Verse 7, Sanctify yourself therefore, and be you holy, for I am Yahweh your God, and you shall keep my statutes and do them. I am Yahweh which sanctify you. For everyone that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. So the laws are always to the whole congregation of people, Hebrew born, so not just the Hebrew born. Child sacrifice, which is one of the things this chapter talks about, is a forerunner of today's Christmas festival. People do not know that. It appears to be secretly on the increase in practice, child sacrificing in secret quarters, as is sexual immorality that also seems to be on the increase from reports.
Okay, I should have also included verse 20, verse 6, which talks about, And the soul that turneth after such as have familiar spirits, and after wizards, to go a-whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and will cut him off from among his people. Because a lot of people go in, Christians even thinking they can go to the people with familiar spirits to tell their fortunes and read tarot cards and all this kind of things. Again, it is against God's way. A lot of Christians are doing things of the pagan religions and thinking it is acceptable by God or part of God's sixth system. They're mixing two things together.
Verse 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbour's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. Now in chapter 20 we see punishment for some of the things mentioned in chapters 18 to 19. Leviticus chapters 20 verse 10 is a subject of John chapters 8 verse 4 and 5, where Yeshua was not changing the law in his action. Maybe he knew more than us, having the ability to perceive the hearts of people. Because the law says both the man and woman should be brought and punished, yet in that occasion only the woman was brought by the accusers. Why, we should ask ourselves. Was it a setup like in Matthew 22:35 and Luke 10:25?
So let's look at this verse again, what God says. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth the adultery with his neighbour's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall be put to death. Many denominations teach, and Christians believe, that a man can divorce his wife if she has committed fornication, which they equate or interpret to mean sexual immorality. In fact, some Bible translations have changed it from the word fornication and inserted sexual immorality, which they equate to her having sex with another man. Clearly, God calls that adultery and prescribes death for both, so that sin is put away from the land. That's Matthew 19 verse 9 and Matthew 5:32, which says, But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for or except for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her, that is divorced, committeth adultery. And there's some translations have taken out fornication and inserted sexual immorality. Now that does not give a woman a license to marry again, as most people think. The fornication is worshipping another god, and is what Solomon should have done, rather than have a godly man, a wise godly man, being turned away from the pagan wives he had. If we are to say that if we to go along with the common belief that the husband can put her away and then she can go on and marry again, let's assume that she had sex with someone else, a lover, and the husband then, following the common belief, puts her away, and she then goes and marries this lover. Then all she has to do to get a divorce is have sex all the time with someone else and fall under the law that, oh, my husband now put me away and now we can be together. That is not how God thinks, and it is actually ludicrous to me to have that logic. Or should I say illogical thinking.
Okay, verse 13, Leviticus 20:13. If a man also lie with a mankind as he lieth with woman, both of them have committed an abomination, they shall surely be put to death. Again, that is the way you get rid of it. The blood shall be upon them. Verse 22. You shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments, and do them, that the land whither I bring you to dwell therein spew you not out. And you shall walk in the manners of the nation. And you shall not walk in the manners of the nation which I cast out before you, for they committed all these things, and therefore I abhorred them. But I have said unto you, you shall inherit the land, and I will give it unto you to possess it, a land that floweth with milk and honey. I am Yahweh your God, which have separated you from other people. You shall not make your souls abominable. Verse 26. You shall be holy unto me, for I, Yahweh, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that you should be mine. Coming on to chapter 21, which deals with the holiness of the priest. Reading from verse 1. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Speak unto the priests and the sons of Aaron, and say unto them, There shall none be defiled for the dead among his people, but for his kin that is near unto him, that is for his mother, and for his father, and for his son, and for his daughter, and for his brother. So only for those specific people he can defile himself. Verse 7. They shall not take a wife, this is the priest, that is a whore, or profane, Neither shall they take a woman put away from her husband, for he is holy unto his God.
So here we see a priest was not to defile himself with dead bodies apart from under specific circumstances. Yet today, pastors, it's common for them to perform funerals. The dead coffins are brought into the church, therefore defiling the church, the pastor, and everyone else.
Neither shall he go into any dead body, nor defile himself for his father or for his mother. Verse 21. No man that have a blemish of the seed of Aaron, the priest, shall come near to offer the offerings of Yahweh made by fire. He hath a blemish. He shall not come near to offer the bread of his God. He shall eat the bread of his God, both of the most holy and the holy. Only he shall not go in within the veil, nor come near unto the altar, because he hath a blemish, that he profane not my sanctuary, for I, Yahweh, do sanctify them. So here we try to see how specific and holy God is. We also see that priests, today's pastors, let's say, equivalent, are supposed to stay away from dead bodies. Yet, tradition today has it that they bring them into the churches and they perform funerals on them. Two of the main things that the Bible doesn't give them authority to do, weddings and funerals, is the two main things that they do. See verse 11 and verses 13 to 14 for some more verses on those points. Chapters 22, Holiness of Offerings. Starting from verse 10. There shall no stranger eat of the holy thing. A sojourner of the priest or an hired servant shall not eat of the holy thing. But if the priest buy any soul, any person, with his money, he shall eat of it, and he that is born in his house, they shall eat of his meat. So what this is saying is that once your priest is bought a servant, he becomes part of the priestly family, and he, a purchased servant, can eat the holy food, whereas a homeborn Jew who's not of the priestly family cannot eat it. So the point is that God has no difference between a homeborn and a non-homeborn. Yes, once you have taken in, you're taken in. Once he takes you in, he takes you in. And similarly, he says here that the priest, once they've bought that servant, he becomes part of the family. So I only make this point so those who keep harping on about one people are Hebrews and other people are not, and so forth, it's just nonsense and waste of time. Okay, so just jumping down to verse 19. You shall offer at your own will a male without blemish of the beeves, of the sheep, of the goats, and verse 20. But whatsoever hath a blemish, that shall you not offer, for it shall not be acceptable for you. And whosoever offereth a sacrifice of peace offerings unto Yahweh to accomplish his vow, or free will offering in beeves or sheep, it shall be perfect to be accepted. There shall be no blemish therein. Verse 24. You shall not offer unto Yahweh that which is bruised, or crushed, or broken, or cut, neither shall you make any offering thereof in your land. Neither from a stranger's hand shall you offer the bread of your God of any of these, because their corruption is in them, and blemishes be in them. They shall not be accepted from you. So it is clear, God does not accept unholy things, blemish, bruised, crushed, and it goes for anything. So when people say we can worship God any day or any time, not in the Bible. Yes, you can maybe do it as an additional thing, but when he says we just choose a specific day, that's the day he wants. You cannot change it and give him something unholy and think he's going to accept it. So those of people who think God is accepting what they offer him, when it is not what he asks or what he prescribed to be offered, maybe they may want to think again. Malachi 3:6 says he changes not. Leviticus chapters 22:27. When a bullock or a sheep or a goat is brought forth, then it shall be 7 days under the dam, and from the 8th day, and thenceforth it shall be accepted for an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. Now this is similar to the male child that was circumcised on the 8th day. 22:31. Therefore shall you keep my commandments and do them. We keep coming across that word. I am Yahweh. Verse 32. Neither shall you profane my holy name, but I will be hallowed among the children of Israel. I am Yahweh which hallow you, that brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Yahweh. So as advised, read through the whole chapters, get a feel for the way God thinks. It will definitely help in understanding the various controversies of the New Testament teachings between denominations and preachers, plus help you separate God's truth from man's tradition. As I said, or as Malachi 3:6 says, God changes not. So what he requires of people, what he required of people in the past, he requires of them and you today. Shalom.